somehow, there were people who got sick, but somehow they trashed Denmark 8-1 in the finals. So that also became a really huge thing when they came back. There were motorcades and there was huge celebrations. And there was also a very interesting problem too, because whoever won the Thomas Cup gets to host the next Thomas Cup. So in 49, suddenly they had to decide where do you host this Thomas Cup. The other thing, of course, was physical education. A lot of people don't remember that actually KL was a very important site because of Qingwu Stadium. What had happened in Republican China, all of you might know that in 1911, Sun Yat-sen led a successful revolution. And that revolution, some of the stories that are not told is that he had already started to instill physical education amongst the Chinese in China. And what Qingwu Athletic Association did was when the Westerners were suggesting that Kung Fu and all these kind of martial arts was actually quite a backward kind of thing. What Qingwu Association did was when they first set up in the 1910 was to modernize Kung Fu, so to speak. So they started to standardize the manuals. They started to have classes, and they started to and also they were also connected with the Republican Revolution. So there's a strong connection between being of good health and capable, and also being part of the revolution. So you can see this idea of Qingwu Association, Jingwu recurs again and again. So you have all the major movie stars playing it. First of all, of course, you have Fist of Fury, Bruce Lee, and then you get Jackie Chan, 1976, Fearless, and then of course there's another one by before he went to do Donnie Yen. So all the major sort of Kung Fu players, Kung Fu actors have played, including of course Stephen Chow, this is spoof. So this actually in movie form, of course, it captures a lot of imagination, but of course behind that is the story of the sort of nationalist revolution, and also this whole idea that the sick man of East Asia kind of syndrome. I'm sure a lot of Qingwu associate folks would not remember this, but this was an early picture of how they dressed. This is not in Beta High. This is in High Street. So what happened was sometime later when some of the sort of mainland Chinese reporters traveled to Kuala Lumpur to work in the newspaper firms and so on and so forth. Some of them were former members of Qingwu Athletic Association in Shanghai. So the main association is in Shanghai. And then in 1919, the Kuala Lumpur branch was set up. And it was a very important branch because it then spread to a lot of different states. So much so that you not only have Qingwu Athletic Association, you also have women's association. That means there's a sort of a general association, but there's also branches specifically for women. And starting off in High Street, these were sort of the grounds. And you can see that they also spread to Singapore and to even Saigon. And one of the stories that is not often told is that people forgot that the branch in Shanghai, although it started Qingwu, it became bankrupt. There wasn't any money. And so a lot of money actually was sent from, it's similar to the story of the Republican Revolution. A lot of money was sent from the Qingwu in Malaysia, Qingwu in Singapore, and so on and so forth to help rebuild the Qingwu in Shanghai. So if not for the Qingwu associations outside of China, you would not get any Qingwu association back in China. So this whole idea of setting up an athletic association actually comes in contrast with what was present at the time. So you wanted to engage in sports and so on and so forth, you would have to join the clubs, right? So you either join the Bangkok club or you join golf clubs and things like that. before you have sort of access to these so-called Western modern sports. And one of the things, of course, is that besides maintaining aspects of culture, so you can go to Chengdu to learn aspects of Chinese culture, but you can also learn boxing, you can learn badminton, you can learn all these other kinds of sports. So these are some early plans. After the war, they felt that they needed to expand the premises. So a lot of so this was the first sort of model that they built. Actually, they acquired, they bought over a large piece of land, and they applied to change it to institutional use. Right? Originally, this was a lot of we'll see the history of Garden Hill afterwards, but a lot of it used to be cemeteries and graveyards. But a lot of people had expected this to become a residential area. When Chengdu Association bought this land, they thought that it would be institutional rather than residential. So unfortunately, originally there was going to be a huge running track, but I think because they didn't have enough funds, subsequently only the indoor stadium and the swimming pool was built. So it's difficult to imagine. For a very long time, this was one of the few public swimming pools around. So there was no restriction to ethnicity. I mean, if you were non-Chinese, you were also welcome to swim at Chengdu Stadium. So the architect is Liu Tim, it's YTD. Of course, at that time, he was also part of MCA. But quite interestingly, you may have seen some of his other buildings around Kuala Lumpur. They were glasses, quite new. This is really a kind of mini United Nations building. I don't know if you've seen it. This is the gathering space, and this is meant to be the sort of office block in China. Of course, very, very much lower. And the most amazing thing is that he designed 2 mosques. Can you imagine a Chinese person designing a mosque? But he designed a mosque at the university, and he also designed a mosque at Kampong Bahru, and the whole UMNO HQ. So how amazing is that? So anyway, we were lucky because we were able to sometime back. So this is sometime back. Was able to get in touch with his son, and got some of the old photographs, got some of the old plans. This is quoted to be 4,000 school children inside Chengdu Stadium. So you can see already, this concrete truss. So this is a kind of innovation of concrete. Concrete was the material of the 1960s. Everybody was using concrete, and you needed the skill to be able to sort of engineering skills to sort of span over large areas for an indoor stadium. Okay, so this is 4,000. Then also because you now have a venue, you could host a lot of regional, so you could host interstate events. Basketball was very, very famous. But you notice that, interestingly, these are USA. So this is USA versus Selangor. Actually, this is from San Francisco basketball team. Sent the team to compete here. So it became, in modern space, it became also a space where we gathered. So I'll just show you some drawings actually to show you that actually, although Mr. Liu Tim didn't have any sort of, he was an apprentice when he worked through his apprenticeship in PWB, and so he worked up the ranks to become a qualified person. It's not quite an architect, but he designed one. So here you see plan of the stadium. On the side, of course, this clock tower. Actually, this clock tower will have play a part in the Merdeka stadium story as well. On the side. So it's actually quite interesting because you see this is all concrete, and then of course there are some sort of spaces for ventilation right on the top. So it's a kind of a curious kind of a modernist language that is used very, very quickly. But I think that's also the charm of the drawings. These drawings are from 1953. They are sitting in my office. I haven't had time to, and they are quite fragile, so I'm still trying to figure out how to scan all these. This is done with inserting them in plastic sheets, so I see a lot of reflection. But I actually look at this. And then of course the swimming pool, this was a state-of-the-art swimming pool because they have to import a lot of the pump equipment and all that from I think it was Germany. So I think it's there. I think the public use it a lot, but a lot of folks really don't realize that actually it's quite difficult to set up this building, which is also the value. And then coming closer to Bulatan Merdeka, this is so you have Chee Stadium that's been set up. So this is Chee Stadium. At the time of Merdeka, there were a lot of events, including traffic planning. So one of the things was to connect the old parts of the city. This is the old parts of the city through using what is known as the Merdeka Circus. Of course, it's right outside, and then of course connecting to here, so this area. So this would have been what it used to look like. I think the fountain is there, but it's really different. And we don't get this view. And the plan was also to connect them with different circles, and so that you get to connect around Kuala Lumpur. So this is the whole area. So various events, right? Just now I mentioned Chee Stadium's tower. In May of 1956, Tunku, together with the Olympic Council chairperson, I think it was McDonald's, someone by the name, he was asked by Tunku to just walk up to the tower and survey the whole area to find a site for Merdeka Stadium. So from there, Tunku just said, okay, we just have that. And to create a space for the Merdeka Stadium, they had to take back some land from EI, which is next door. But essentially, there was enough space to create a Olympic-sized stadium. So this was what happened. And the person who is credited for a lot of chaos development, who really deserves a lot of more respect, is someone by the name of Stanley Hughes. He was the director of Public Works Department at the time. When I was trying to look for him, a lot of people felt that he had passed away, so I had to hunt him down and finally found him in Florida. This is part of his still land, unfortunately. That's where I met him. And over several days I interviewed him and found out he had a lot of things. So he was originally from PWE Road, so he tried to improve the road system in Kuala Lumpur. And then of course he designed the two stadiums, Merdeka Stadium and Stadium Negara, as well as the park, Merdeka Park. But he also did other things, right? Because he also proposed this Parliament House, a little bit cliche because you have the moon, the crescent moon, and then you have the 11-pointed star rising at the top. He also had an earlier proposal for the national monument, and the idea was that a lot of the fighting during the emergency took place in the jungle. So this was a black vine competing with a white vine. The white vine is the good guys, black vine is the bad guys. So eventually, the fight results in the white vine extending higher than the castle. This was to be the national monument. So if you want to read more about it, there's a book by a person called Arcus, who is actually Stanley Hughes, called Humankind. There's something interesting about engineers. When they do a lot of work and when they retire, somehow they move into philosophy and they write a lot of philosophical books. So this is really to understand what human beings are, but if you read the chapters, you have a lot of passages coming from his experiences in Asia. So these are his drawings, and mind you, he had a day job. Right? His day job was to be a PWD director. And all of this work on the stadiums was at night. So what happened, through the interview he said that once dinner was over, he asked his wife to clear the table and start to work on the dinner table. So this was sort of a design after hours. And the interesting thing, of course, was that there is, in the Merdeka Stadium, it's a kind of replacement of another sort of important green space. So if the Padang area was the space where the colonials were able to sort of build the secretariat, the very grand buildings to demonstrate the power of the colonial folks, the stadium would be a replacement kind of a green space. And I don't know if you noticed or not, but in the early plans for the stadium, the grass would be right up to the tiered seats. There was no running track back then. So in a sense, the edge of the grass was very close to the folks who was happy at the stadium. So you see, this is a rehearsal on 30th of August. One day before this was an overall rehearsal. And you see this person standing here, and Stan Jukes was surprised because he had spent a lot of time creating. We'll talk about this roof later on. This is at that time the longest sort of spanning roof. So you have a structure in the middle supporting this part here, which is 60 feet. 60 feet, I think 60 feet, and then 40 feet backwards. So this was a very, very huge span, and there were 15 of these roofs. And you can barely see these cables. If you go to Merdeka Stadium and you see those cables here, don't shake the cables or anything, because that's what's holding up the whole roof. The whole thing is tensioned and connected back. So you see these, I don't know if you've seen these before, but these were the ladies working at the time. And they knew how to protect themselves, because a lot of the architects at night, they saw the same ladies, but then they showed no signs of being under the sun or anything, so they protect themselves very well during the day. But what you can also see here is that a lot of the work was done by women at the time. This was common throughout. So you can imagine that 1957 sparked off quite a big sort of rush to get moving down there. A lot of the kapalas, they're sort of groups of people. Each group of folks is called a kapala. They will sort of move around wherever there is work. So what is interesting about Merdeka Stadium is also it is an earth bowl, meaning that it's if you dig about 10 feet down, right, you take out the earth and then you fill it at the back. So you get two tiers. So this is where the earth is dug out, and then you create another terrace at the back. So this is the same principle that the Stadium Negara was also constructed. And besides the engineering feat of this roof, there are also these light towers. So these were at that time the tallest pre-stressed structures, tallest pre-stressed structures in the world at 140 feet. Does anyone know how these towers are built? You know what it is? Sorry? Sorry? Flats. No, they were actually drain pipes. Yeah. You can imagine that there was a lot of Stan Jukes was trying to save money on this, but this was post-war period. They were trying to, if you import steel and all that from Japan, and all that, it would be very costly. So he had an innovative idea to use Hume Industry were producing all these monsoon drains, right? Huge monsoon drains. So what he did was around the perimeter of the drain, as they cast the drain, they will have holes drilled along the side walls. Okay? And then, so it's like needle and thread, right? So you thread cables through it. So you line up a few sections of drain pipes, right? Then you thread through all the holes on the side, you tighten it, then you get this 140 feet power. So there was a very interesting story that Stan Jukes told me, was that so this was going on, and you can imagine, you know, it's pre-stressed on the ground, so everything is flat, and then you have to get a crane to just lift it up, and then slot it into a custom-made base. So as the work was going on, Stan Jukes noticed the Straits Times reporter always following him around. Then one day he asked the reporter, "How come you keep following me around the construction site? You never write anything about the Merdeka Stadium?" Then he said, "Of course not. There hasn't been any accident yet." So the idea at that time was that how Malaysia tak boleh. You couldn't get that kind of engineering technology, but Stan Jukes was to prove them wrong, to be able to have these both the span for the grandstand for 3,000 people, as well as the 140 feet high light tower. So inside that monsoon drain pipe, you can still get a cat ladder, so you can still go up and fix the pipe. So really, even in 1957, there were really two world records right here in the Merdeka Stadium. So this is what it looks like. These are the final touches. And Stan Jukes was surprised because during Merdeka Day itself, the organizers put two cannons, one on each of the ends of that. And so when the ceremony finished, they just fired off the cannons. So already this was quite precarious, but they fired the cannons, but this was quite sound. So they continued to stay till today. And of course, again, this is with a stadium. Suddenly, you also were able to connect with a lot of other countries. So, in 1959, the Siap Games was formed, and this nowadays we call it the Sea Games, but it used to be called Southeast Asia Peninsula Games. Again, there was a lot of politics involved, because if you call it peninsula, then those countries that cannot join are the Philippines and Indonesia, right? So if you remember, in the 1960s, there was confrontasi with Indonesia. There was also a lot of problems involved with Borneo, right? Because of the claims over Sabah, and the Filipinos were also claiming Sabah as well. So interestingly, the word peninsula created this. Of course, Tunku having some Thai blood. In the first SEA Games was Siap Games was held in Bangkok. They were able to sort of discuss over what should constitute the games. But this subsequently became, beginning with 6 member countries, it suddenly became this kind of configuration. So at around the same time that the Merdeka Stadium was completed, Tunku announced that we would have a park, right? And of course, there was already a sort of a park since 1920s, right? People's Park, and then subsequently in 1937 it was converted into Coronation Park. So there was already a park, but then originally they were going to call it Tunku Abdurrahman Park, but Tunku said, why don't we just call it Merdeka Park? But the name didn't stick, right? People continued to call it Tunku Park. So these are the plans. So there would be one sort of because of the configuration, the smaller triangular site would be mainly for children, but the rest would be for the public. So you can see that prior to the Stadium Negara, we have hockey fields, and we have sort of car parks, squash, and so on. So you have different parks here. And in the center of it, there's going to be a kind of a pavilion where the Merdeka clock is. I think you know what the Merdeka clock is. And then, of course, right in the middle, you have a bandstand. Kind of. So this was Stan Jukes' plan. Fortunately, he was able to rescue it from him. But maybe it's also a good time to sort of look at the history of this whole area. In 1893, there was a proposal to convert part of this into the golf course. But this was a golf course that only had 9 holes. Okay, so you finish 9 holes and you go back and then start over again if you really wanted to play the events. And of course, if you look at the map around the time, there were still remnant cemetery areas, there was a swamp, right? And they had to clear a lot of different parts of land just to have that golf line. Then subsequently, 1920s came apart, and subsequently the golf clubs moved and became Royal Selangor Golf Club. So it moved away, and we finally had 18 holes. But then subsequently, between the turn of the century to around just before the war, you can see that the sort of a civic shape of Tanglin Hill was formed, because you really had VI there. VI also moved from, one of the reasons was of course the floods in 1927 was so severe that the school decided once and for all that they moved to higher ground. This really was higher ground. So this probably started off the institutionalizing of Tanglin Hill itself. So subsequently, Kingwood Stadium came in, the YMCA, so a lot of the Scout Association and so on and so forth. So schools, churches, so eventually, by 1957 when Merdeka Stadium was built, it already had a very civic character on top of the fact that there was a public park there. And then by 1963, of course, this picture is now complete with the 3 stadiums around it, including So this is again another sort of aerial photograph to show you what it looks like. So this was, I think you collected a lot of those stuff, but at that time was regularly checking eBay to find out. Because by the time I started to research Merdeka Park, it was 1989, and they were all sort of fenced up and couldn't see what they inside. So it was really to reconstruct it from maps, from accounts, and from pictures like this. Okay, so the interesting thing, of course, is that they call it mushroom, right? But in Cantonese, Tumku is also mushroom. So maybe the name stuck. But this structure actually has a very interesting history because so this stem here actually comes from one of the monsoon pipes. So it's the same material as the light tower. And then this actually paper. This is compressed paper, which there was a lot of stock of compressed paper in the PWE store. So Stan Jokes wanted to save some money, and they took out the compressed paper and used it for the roof. But what a lot of people don't know is that subsequently the rest of the paper was then used to create the roof for the Stadium Negara. So the Stadium Negara actually had a paper roof. We'll talk about that more. So in fact, this can be seen as a product of both the. I mean, this is Stadium Merdeka, this is Stadium Negara. So happy marriage. This is the child. They produce a mushroom. So some of the other pictures you can see. This is not incomplete. The Stan Jokes intended children to play in this structure because if they fell, right? In those days, they weren't so worried about children falling. This structure is complete, right? This is not incomplete. Okay, this is complete. It's meant to be like that. And then of course we have the pavilion. Apparently, I hear from a lot of VI boys. There's a lot of very good food here. And then over here there is the Merdeka clock. This is the entrance to the clock. So this is the architect's impression of what the sundown Merdeka clock is going to be. So in the original plans, of course, this gnomon, which is for reading this. So again, it's charged with symbolism. Again, this is a 11-pointed star, the original star from the flag. And then, of course, you have the crescent shape. And this was a working clock. Right? So Stan Jukes actually did all the calculations so that if you stand here, you can calculate the time, and it became kind of an educational device as well. It's a sundial. So a lot of people pose with it. This probably is the same person. In the 1960s, it was very popular to do something to your photographs. Especially this is Photoshop before Photoshop. Okay, so this is the Merdeka clock extending from one part of the pavilion, but it has since been. So we were quite lucky because the engineer who was working with Stan Jukes notified some folks, and then the astronomical department moved it to Merdeka. So you can see the structure here. This wall is trying to replicate this part. So here you have all the kind of zodiac. And then, of course, the other part of the history is that there's a kind of a rockery of sort of a fake landscape. These were also this was by a contractor in Singapore who also did the Tiger Farm Garden, so you can see the kind of similarity of this kind of. And then last but not least, I think we don't see the Stadium Negara as it is today, because I think the paper roof, right? The paper roof had given way to kind of a dome. And there was the first question, of course, was why did the architect not design a permanent structure? It would have cost too much. So at the inception of the design, it was decided that they would make use of the rest of the compressed paper and to also create a very, very light roof. But this, if you're an architecture student, I'll entreat you to study the section because it's really quite. So first of all, is you can we'll look at the section in greater detail later on. This is what it looks like. And you can imagine that this roof, right? Although it's made of paper, the supporting structure is a timber frame, and because it was going to be a roof inside the roof. Okay? What I mean by that is that you can see this ring here. This is like your bicycle ring. Okay? And then this ring is then supported by intention by the roof itself on the side. So what it means is that you have to have cables tensioning this whole thing. And the engineering is so precise that there are some tricks to designing this. Stan Jukes told me that there are always a pair of cables, but you cannot tune it to the same kind of tightness or frequency, because if you have same frequencies, you create a lot of sound when the whole roof is moving. So this is again technical model, and again you have to have some sort of a lattice wall, three lattice walls on each side to support. Okay, so here is a section. This is really quite marvelous. Once again, it is an earth bowl. So again, the earth is cut. Okay, so you created about 60,000 tons of earth, part of which was backed up to create the tiers at the back. The rest of the earth went into another national monument. Can you guess which one? Masjid Negara. Okay, because if you had seen earlier photographs of the Masjid Negara area, actually it's very low ground. Right? So these two projects were simultaneous, so you can't tell the story of Masjid Negara without telling this, because the earth was partially backed out, then also transported to Masjid Negara, and then leveled so that the mosque can be a bit higher. Otherwise, you'll be kind of a valley situation. Okay. And so here is the section, and then so this ring is in compression, so it's holding together by itself. This is in tension. So you have a kind of a ring inside a ring. Okay. And all of this, besides the timber structure, you have compressed paper. And also it is reflective. Okay. So the control of light is all by indirect light, so you don't get direct light into the stadium. So you can see that there are all these wall panels, window panels. The light comes in here and then comes down, reflects down to the periphery. Same thing, right? Where you have the curvature, the light comes in and is reflected off this surface and then comes down. So in fact, in the daytime actually it's good enough for the games that are going in. And of course this was to reconnect with the story of Thomas Cup. In the end, Singapore was able to build a badminton hall. So Google again was felt, why does it need to be in Singapore? And at the same time as the Thomas Cup was held or convened in Singapore, 1955 onwards, because it was held in this part of the world, another badminton power arose, and Malaya had lost to Indonesia. So it was a time also to sort of think about the revival of a proper space for the playing of badminton. So this is that space, and it's actually quite nice because there's not much air moving here. You get indirect light. All the water from the roof. I think this is where Stan Hughes became overconfident. He only introduced one drain. This is going to be the drain. We can put a person inside here. And all this is going to take the water from this part of the roof as well as this part of the roof to the outside. So I think in hindsight you should have that. I think it was too complicated. And then, so these are some of the views of the areas of the canteen. I love this furniture. Really love this furniture. This was a bandstand, and this was a collapsible kind of a platform. So you can sort of, so this top part can fold, it's like your laptop, you fold down and then you sort of be flush with this area. But if not, you really want the bandstand to be created. So this is part of that wind wall, sort of to stabilize it for sort of wind loads. And then of course the space here is all sort of by light from the outside. And then there was yet another innovation. Because, but of course, unfortunately, it's only in the VIP section. So what Stan Hughes then felt was that because this air was not going to be moving around, what he did was he introduced air jets. So at the time, it was just airlines were only beginning to use. When you take a plane, you can adjust the kind of air that's shooting at you. So this was then incorporated into the VIP seats. So once again, this was quite amazing because although you see just the surface of it, there is a services ring. You can have water, you can have cooking shows, you can have gas, and I think it was also converted into ice show. I think the first, I think Chee Stadium had an ice show, but then subsequently I think this was also the venue of ice show. So here you can see the change from the bicycle roof to eventually sort of replaced by the dome side. So here we are. I think this is the last slide. Thanks. So I think part of the joy of going through this journey is to really find out how architects, how artists, engineers, and sort of a lot of other people. Right? So although these are state projects, they actually involve a lot of people really thinking about the 1950s and 1960s period of Malaysia's history and what kind of buildings will kind of galvanize folks together and create imagination for all of us to become better people. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mr. Lai. So we had those who followed the walk with me just now. I think 80% correct. Well, most of the information was also from the I'm sure during the talk, during sharing, you have lots of questions as well. Who were the people there?